Redbubble, Redbubble, Redbubble. By now, you have already heard and received an email about the changes that are going to be happening with Redbubble. And to be honest with you, I got my email. Well, I actually saw my email first thing this morning, and basically I was flabbergasted. For those of you who have been following my channel for some time now, know that I have been quite a proponent for, promoting Redbubble, the products, the ease of uploading on the platform, and basically the number of products that are offered on this platform, which makes it really a wonderful platform for sellers like us to try and make a little extra cash as a side hustle. The problem is that I'm really thinking twice about whether or not I'm going to continue recommending Redbubble and promoting it as the platform to go to after the email that was sent today. For those of you who still may not be unaware of what that email contained, well, basically Redbubble is going to be introducing a 3-tier system that's going to take place on the 1st of May. And at first, when I was looking into it, alarm bells started ringing in my head. I was like, where are we going with this? What's going on over here? And in fact, I had quite a number of my followers sending me a message either via Facebook or Instagram or even through YouTube itself saying, listen, what are your views on that? Have you seen what's been happening? Where are we going from over here? And basically I told them, listen, let me consume a little bit. Let me read up a little bit more about it in order to see what these changes are going to entail, what kind of effect they're going to have on us. And I have to say, they're not good at all, folks. They're not good at all. As many of you know, for quite some time now, getting into Redbubble is relatively easy. All you need to do is sign up, give in an email address, and create an account and start uploading, which was really great for a lot of people out there, particularly, during the time of the pandemic when people were losing their jobs and whatnot, just as a way of trying to gain a little extra income to put food on the table, maybe to help pay the bills, where when possible. The problem is that over time, with all of the huge number of sellers that were coming in, I think we're around 2 million sellers on Redbubble platform just on its own. Obviously, trying to make sales is, not that easy to do as it once was a number of years ago. There's a lot of garbage on the platform, unfortunately, a lot of pixelated designs and whatnot, and a lot of tag spammers. And there was just so much going on Redbubble that, you'd say, okay, let's be a bit patient. Maybe perhaps they'll get their act straight. They'll do something about the tag spamming. They'll do something about, the poor designs on them. Maybe they'll get somebody to start scoping through the platform and getting rid of all of the garbage that's out there. And, one did live with hope that this would actually happen. Unfortunately, Redbubble did take action, but not in a way which I feel, and I think many of you feel the same way too, that it's a positive step in the right direction. On the contrary, I think it's more of a step in the opposite direction. And I think it's only going to hurt Redbubble more so now than anything, any kind of mistakes or any kind of slip-ups that they allowed on their platform over the past year or two. Now, let's take a look at what it is that they're doing. I'm not going to delve too long into it because understandably, if you received the email, you probably got the links and you've looked into them. Most of us, or rather the large bulk of us, have been put into the standard tier, myself included. And to be very frank, I was rather cheesed off myself at the fact that I was put into the standard tier, myself too as well. And the fact that when I looked at what kind of costs, what kind of fees I was going to have to incur whenever I made sales each month, made me question whether or not I still want to continue selling on the Redbubble platform, okay? So basically, if we are looking at an overview of the account tiers, we've got the Redbubble Standard, Redbubble Premium, and Redbubble Pro. And again, I'm not gonna go through all of them. I have them up on the screen here now so that you can take a look at them and what each of the tiers is going to be providing for you, if you're so inclined to do so. If you haven't yet seen the email or you haven't actually looked at the website itself, what really got to me again is, like I said, was understanding how the new account fees were going to apply to us and, what we were going to have to incur. So looking here on the Redbubble blog, there is an example over here. So let's say, for example, you earn $15.50 in May. Well, basically, you're going to be charged $6.15 as an account fee, which means effectively in your hands, you're going to be receiving $9.35. Now, let's stop and look at this for a moment, folks. I mean, the fact that Redbubble had, provided us a platform where we could upload our designs was great. But make no mistake, Redbubble is in it for the money. And they were already going to be making a sizable profit on each sale that we made. Because remember, Redbubble had their base costs, and then obviously they had their markups, and then our margins were on top of those markups. So you can rest assured that whenever we made a sale, Redbubble was making money. The problem is now is that the fact that they've introduced these fees too as well, they're effectively taking, their markup plus a little bit out of our markups too as well, which I think you'll agree is definitely not on. I think it's a total hoax, and I think that Redbubble went in the wrong direction over here. Instead, what I would have recommended to Redbubble to do was to actually get some staff members on board and actually forget about using the algorithm to see how it was going to, categorize our accounts and to which tiers and whatnot. They could have gotten rid of a lot of the other crap. And I'm really riled up right now, so I'm actually going to use the word crap over here that exists on Redbubble, the tag spammers and whatnot, and clean up the garbage that exists on that platform. Because let's make no mistake, when you put a design up on Redbubble, that's taking up server space. And server space, as many of you know, costs money. It's not cheap. It's not inexpensive. So I can only imagine with the huge number of designs that Redbubble has on its platform, they are paying a hefty price for server space to be able to host all of those designs. And there is a lot of garbage on the platform. So as a result, they are losing a lot of money. And as most business who want to stay afloat try to do, they try to see how they're going about to keep, the boat afloat by making more money. Problem is that they're trying to extrapolate the money from the wrong people. We as sellers are the ones that are keeping Redbubble alive. Without us, Redbubble, and indeed any of the print-on-demand platforms, would be non-existent. So the fact that Redbubble is trying to put its hands into our pockets and take more money from us is really sending a really negative message that, hey, we don't really care two hoots about you. All we want to do is make sure that we gain as much money that we can out of the customers, out from your pockets as sellers, in order to keep our boat afloat. Because if we're not afloat, then you're not going to have a platform to make money. And I'm sorry, that's hogwash. Because, if you are in it for the profits, like any good business would, you want to find ways to encourage more sellers to come on board to provide quality designs that are going to attract more customers to your platform in order to purchase. Now, I took a look at the current stock prices for Redbubble. Let's have a quick look at them. Now, what I have here up on the screen is the 5-year stock graph for Redbubble. And as you can see, way back in 22nd January 2021, Redbubble stocks was $7.04 Australian a share. Today, if we move all the way across, it's down to 39 cents Australian, per share. So there is a lot going on at Redbubble that we don't know about. It's been tanking and tanking more so over the past 2 to 3 years, which in itself is starting to ring bells to me too as well, as I'm sure that it's ringing bells for you too as well. And you have to ask yourself, is it still worth creating designs, uploading them to Redbubble, when in truth we may not even know if Redbubble is going to last through the year? And the fact that now they are charging us money if we are in the standard tier in order to try and keep afloat, you have to ask yourself, the amount of time that it takes for you to create your design, to think of appropriate keywords, your description, your title, and then upload them, and then adjust them to all of the products that Redbubble has to offer. And then when you do actually make a sale, you're going to have at least anywhere between 36 and 50% of those profits that you're making taken out as a fee for Redbubble. My friends, I think we really need to think twice about whether or not we should still continue contributing to the Redbubble platform. Now, I'm hopeful that maybe, between now and the 1st of May, when it's actually going to come into effect, if Redbubble receives so much negative feedback from us as sellers, they might actually curtail this decision and try to come up with something else as opposed to continuing with this fee. But if they don't, to be very frank and honest, I would not recommend uploading to Redbubble anymore. Specifically because really and truthfully, it's not worth the time and the hassle against the miserable profit margins that you're going to make. All right, you can say, yeah, well, what if you make it into the premium or to the pro accounts? Well, yeah, if you do make it into those ones, but there's no transparency on the blogs. I read through it and there's no indication of when your account is going to be reviewed, whether or not what does it entail to be able to get into the other tiers. It's very, very ambiguous. There isn't anything concrete. It's just a lot of hodgepodge of words placed on their blogs to try and paint it over as something rosy, saying, oh, we're doing this for the benefit of you as a seller. No, you're not doing it for the benefit of us as a seller, because in truth, there are other print-on-demand platforms that we could start investing our hard-earned time into, uploading on those particular platforms as opposed to the Redbubble platform, and hopefully this doesn't become the norm with respect to the other print-on-demand platforms, because in truth, if the other platforms do decide to do that too as well, I think it's going to be a very dark day in the print-on-demand industry for us as sellers. And you have to ask yourself, is it really worth continuing uploading to this particular platforms as opposed to opening up your own shop and using platforms like Printify and Printful, to fulfill your orders? And if you do that, you'll be able to keep more of the profit margins than what you are actually losing to platforms like Redbubble. So Redbubble, if you are listening or if you're seeing this particular video, I implore you, have a little bit more common sense. Don't knock down your sellers. Don't put your sellers into a deeper hole. We as sellers, we as designers, are your bread and butter, are your lifeline. Without us, you're not going to have a platform to be able to service your customers. I implore you to change this particular strategy. Come up with something different. If you are in trouble financially or otherwise, there are other ways that you can go about to, keep the boat afloat. Don't push away your sellers. Do something to encourage better designs. Do something to get rid of tag spammers. Do something to really change the environment, the atmosphere on the platform to make it more of an enjoyable experience, not only for your customers, but even for your sellers, so that we can continue this happy relationship of designing and uploading and selling and, working for the benefits of both you and ourselves. The way you're going about it right now, Redbubble, is totally wrong. I think you're taking this in the wrong direction. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and inevitably you're putting your foot into it. And I don't think it's going to end up well for you or for anybody. So Redbubble, please heed not only my, 2 cents, but of those of everybody who has either sent you a message on Instagram, on Facebook, through YouTube, or any other of the social media platforms out there. Don't go this route. If you do so, it's going to end off, in a very bad state for many people, including yourself. That's it for today. It's not the best of situations right now for us on Redbubble, but hopefully things will turn for the better one way or another. But for today, that's all I've got. And as always, be safe, be well, be creative. Bye for now.